I think that's what makes it difficult because you're going up against multiple people, often with the same background, especially for those entry-level roles. So I think the biggest challenge would really be just what separates you from the other person. I think that's the question you always got to ask yourself. And then something you should take into the interview too, to say, this is why I'm unique. This is why I'm different to the next person you're going to interview. And this is why I'm going to be good for the role, because I've had this unique experience that no one else would have. Yeah. For me, it was the debt collections for the Big Four bank, right? It's definitely unique. I knew no one else would have that experience. It would be very rare for someone else to have that experience. So you're definitely taking that experience and get the opportunity just to set yourself apart from someone else is definitely key in that moment.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Grad Podcast, the ultimate guide to make it in the sports industry. I'm your host, Nathan Perrone, and here at Sports Grad, we've helped people land 831 jobs in sport. A recent shout out goes to Perrone who's joined the Touch Football Australia team as a game development officer. Within 43 days of joining our Sports Grad Method program, Perrone has landed his role in sport. Congrats again, Perrone, and enjoy the year ahead with Touch Football Australia. Now, on this podcast, I chat with people in industry and find out how they got hired into dream jobs in sport. If you want to know what people are doing to break in and grow their career, make sure to follow the pod and subscribe to our newsletter for even more advice. Or if you want to give yourself a competitive advantage in the job market and put your career on a rapid new trajectory, go to our website and apply for the next cohort of the Sports Grad Method program. Now, coming up on the show today is Luke Attard, Head of Commercial and Partnerships at Williamstown Football Club. Luke started his career in sport, volunteering at his local sports club alongside a year in the AFL Sports Ready program. He got his break in the industry at Collingwood Footy Club, working in the membership team where he started to grow a passion for partnerships and sales. Luke's hunger for success and eagerness to learn saw him transition into the partnerships team at the Pies, followed by sales roles outside of sport, and then returning to industry where he heads up the commercial program now at Williamstown Footy Club. Luke is quickly becoming a well-respected leading commercial operator in sport, and his journey provides a clear blueprint for listeners on how to tackle your studies and early years of professional life to set up your career for the future. So grab a pen and enjoy this chat with Luke.
Hey guys, Ruben Williams here, founder of Sports Grad. We'll be back to the episode in just a second, but I just wanted to take a moment to tell you about the Sports Grad Method program, which has been helping people land jobs and major sporting bodies in as little as 14 days and doesn't require you to take out a massive debt to get started. If you are looking to make a jump into the sports industry, but nothing seems to be working for you right now, then why not apply for the Sports Grad Method program? Inside, you'll get given a proven playbook and a one-on-one industry mentor, as well as access to the Sports Grad network, plus much, much more, all of which have helped people land over 800 roles in sport. If you're ready to back yourself and fully go after your career and not let life get away from you and wonder, what if I'd only given that a shot? Then you're the kind of person who we'd love to work with. So head to sportsgrad.com.au/program and you can apply to join us.
Luke Attard, welcome to the Sports Grad Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Backstory for both of us. You were, I would say, my first manager in sport. Volunteering at the Pies 2018 was like my first ever exposure out of uni. I think it was trimester 1 at the time. And you were leading basically the membership on the ground on game day. I think you were only there for a couple of months before you then went to the partnerships team maybe at the time. Yeah. But full circle to now have you. Yeah, we haven't connected for like 5 or 6 years either.
Yeah, no, it was good to hear from you and appreciate being on the potty.
No worries. Accreditation.
Yep.
What have you got for us today?
Brought with me an old VFL pass, entry pass, or my accreditation. So I thought it might be the first VFL one for your wall, and
definitely is the first one.
Yeah, happy for you to pin that one up on the with the others.
Beauty, love it. We'll have to get you signed and put it up that later.
The first time I'm signing, it's something of related.
You're important now. You're on the podcast. So we often start the pod with some quick fire questions just to get to know you a little bit better before we dive deeper into your career and your journey. So firstly, what inspired you to work in sport?
Yeah, I think definitely the impact on, I think, match days as a whole, seeing people smile around the ground. And I think after the craziness of the first half of any match, you can kind of sit back and just look through the crowd and just kind of make sure everything's tracking nicely. And I think that's the most rewarding part, is just seeing families smile, people having a good day out. And trying to lose focus on why people are in sport and why sport exists. It's at the end of the day, we're in an entertainment space, right?
For sure.
We're not making people smile.
Yeah.
Then we're not doing something right. So I think that's probably the most rewarding bit. That's why I'm in the industry.
Love it. What was your first ever job, and what was your first ever sport related job?
Yeah. At 14, first job was at Toygold in retail in
Nice.
Docklands. Great crew, it was a great team there. And then my first role in sport, I would say, was through my AFL Sports Ready traineeship, which was the membership services officer at Collingwood Football Club. But in between that, I also did a role for a debt collection agency on behalf of one of the big four banks, which I learned a lot about me and a lot of experience out from a sales perspective came out of that role. And
that's just cold calling, chasing money, right?
Basically, yeah. So people who owe money to the bank, large amounts of money usually. And it's quite a bit of a...
It'd be intimidating at a young age.
Yeah. There's a bit of a moment to kind of say, geez, like I'm sometimes calling people that, in their 20s with quite a large amount of debt, and you just kind of probably puts it into perspective in some ways and kind of have a bit of a hard truth moment to say, gee, this is what you can get into if I'm not going on the right path. So put me in good stead, though, for my role at Collingwood. And definitely some learnings I took into it and from the person I was. Yeah.
That come up in the interview when you went to the Pies?
It did, actually.
Yeah.
It did. And it was actually, I believe it was a bit of a talking point for me getting into the role, which was good. It's a bit unique. Definitely. I don't think any trainee would have had that type of experience. So definitely a unique experience to take into it.
Beauty. You just spoke about Sports Ready, but after high school, what extra study did you do?
Yeah, went straight into through AFL Sports Ready. We did the certificate 3, was business there, and that was for the first 12-month obviously traineeship with there, and was lucky enough to prove myself in that role and stay on there full time after that traineeship program, and then working with the likes of yourself through the program eventually, and then moving across to footy. Through partnerships.
Perfect. One interview question you were asked to answer for the job you're in, or one question you like to ask people that you hire?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a unique one for my current role at Williamstown, and I still laugh about it with the director who asked me at the time, but essentially asked me, it was quite randomly, so they ask you normal interview questions,
So this isn't normal?
No, this question is definitely not normal. You're asking, why are you good for the role, what's your strengths? And then he just said to me, he goes, who was the last person you called? And I just stopped. I said, what do you mean? And I'm like, I'm just thinking about it. I was like, actually, I don't remember the last person I actually called. I'm thinking myself thinking. I was like, I spoke to my mum like an hour ago. He's like, right. He goes, who was the first person you called on Monday morning? I was like, geez, I don't know what I did yet.
What day was this?
I was like a Friday afternoon or something like that. So I'm like, geez. Okay, all right, Monday morning, I guess I spoke to a client. I had my meeting, actually, I jumped on a call with one of my clients, a News Corp at the time. He goes, right, okay. And I just thought...
And that was the end of the conversation?
That was the end of it, just kept going. And I thought to myself, honestly, we laugh about it now, because I said to him, mate, you hit me straight in between the eyes. And he goes, that's exactly why I asked the question, because I put you on a spot, and it's a question you can't prepare for, or no one's going to prepare for. And see how you handle it. And I was like, oh, geez, I must have done something good. I'm guessing speaking to a client and speaking to my mum was the two of the right answers.
Yeah. Would you use it in the future if you have to interview someone?
I think if I wanted to get a good gauge of someone, if you're not really sure of the type of person they want, the person they are, and if you want to ask a bit of a different question, I'd use that one, and I'd definitely laugh about it afterwards.
I might have to look at it as well for down the line. It's a funny one, but maybe we should all prepare for that question as well.
Absolutely.
Book or podcast recommendation that's helped your career?
Yeah, bit of an odd one. It's called Marketing for Mums, and people always say to me, why would you read that as a sports commercial partnership scene in sport? But how I think of it is, I want to get in the mindset of the people I'm talking to. Like I feel like I understand the product I'm, selling well and trying to connect brands with through a partnership with the club. But it's about learning, about the other side and learning, speaking the language of the marketing manager who I'm talking with, to, in that meeting to get them to understand that I understand their challenges and this is how we can achieve your challenge together through a partnership with the club.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Did you get referred to that book, or you just found it?
I just found it at one of the bookstores. I was with my wife. I was with my wife, and I read the back of it. The only reason why I bought it because it said mums, I can't remember the exact sentence, but I had, mums are the most influential decision makers when it comes to purchasing products or something like that. And I thought to myself, let's
and no doubt you're connecting with a lot of mums through the role you're doing as well.
Well, absolutely. When you're trying to get people to come to match days too, right? But then I also think, how can our brands also, leverage this?
Connect with those people.
It's information and make the most use of it.
Interesting.
Really. Yeah.
And lastly, if you could try another job in sport for a day, what would it be?
Probably the media would hate me because I'll be not doing too much of a good job, but I would love to be the head coach for a day. I'd make some crazy calls and it wouldn't be the right move for the club or the or the future of the club.
So you're not going to be the coach of Williamstown?
No. Safe to say that's not going to happen. But it'd be fun. It would be fun to do, right, in the coach's box, seeing how the game works. And I'm not sure if you've ever experienced being in a coach's box yourself, but it's an experience I would recommend because you see the game from a different perspective.
Did you get that at Willie? Or
I remember my first game at Williamstown. The CEO said, "Jump in the box and just don't say anything, sit at the back, be quiet, but just see how the coaches operate." Such a massive eye opener. Would definitely recommend for anyone.
Have you done any like money can't buys with clients in the box? I've heard of those at certain clubs.
At AFL clubs. We did a few of them. At a VFL level, we don't necessarily have that opportunity to buy into or have to kind of for everyday punter to jump into. But we offer to our partners throughout the year, so they can kind of leverage it. And it's not some money that we add into any partnership agreement. It's more of like, oh, you come to the game, I would love to. Let's get you in.
Over and above.
Have that bit of a relationship. It's almost like a bit of a added value to being a partner, really.
Yeah, perfect. Very good. Well, I want to take you all the way back to the start. You mentioned Sports Ready at the top. I know there's a lot of programs that people take the university pathway. A lot of clubs are coming up with their sort of colleges of sport now. But Sports Ready still remains a pretty popular one, I think. Do you want to maybe just explain how you got into AFL Sports Ready, what it looked like? Obviously, you got the job at the Pies, but just a bit more detail on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually remember the day telling my mum I was going to go to AFL Sports Ready, and I was actually really nervous to tell her because I had this mindset that she would want me to go to university, and I got into my degree to go to university to do a sport management degree, the Bachelor of Sports Management. Yeah. And so I was nervous asking her, and I remember the reason why I thought about going to Sports Ready too was I went to one of the open days with the university, and speaking with the lecturer at the time, he mentioned, sports is a big industry about who you know, not what you know. So a lot of people come after, not unable to find a role afterwards because it's so, hard to get into. And so I thought, right. So when I saw the traineeship opportunity come up, I thought to myself, this is a good opportunity to just increase my network, right? I didn't know anyone in sport before that. So even if I do this and go back to the university afterwards, I deferred it for a year and had every intention to go back to it. But just kind of gave it everything I've got. And I think that's the biggest opportunity to do so, right? When you get an opportunity in sport, doesn't matter where you are, what role it is, it's your opportunity to prove yourself, right? To the business. My mum was very supportive of me to do it. It all worked out. It all worked out in the end. So
now to go back to uni.
I didn't end up going back. Actually, I sometimes think to myself, maybe I should, go back and just get it done.
Would you do like a master's or an MBA?
Yeah, I've looked into that. Yeah, I've definitely looked into it. I haven't started the application or anything like that yet, but it's definitely looked into it more. So you never know when you need it, right? I've never felt I've needed it to date, but you just never know the future.
Obviously, you transitioned to the Pies within the membership team. So what does that role look like probably when you're at Sports Ready? Yep. And then what does that change when you become a bit more full-time with the club?
From the Sports Ready to the full-time.
Correct, yeah.
I'd say my day-to-day was quite similar, from that transition across from a trainee to, an employee with the club directly.
And was this still casual hours but working like full-time hours?
No, it was actual full-time. Full-time straight in. Yep. So went straight into it. And that's why I don't think anything changed because I was full-time essentially with Sports Ready as well. Mm-hmm. So just almost like the same thing.
Nothing really changed,
just kind of keep going.
Yeah. Which
is credit to Collingwood, right? Like in terms of that opportunity that they gave me at the time as a trainee. And that's a really good mentor there that our manager at the time who really supported me. And I think, like I said, if you prove yourself, then there's no reason why to not be full-time too, right? If the opportunity's there. But then just kind of continued on and went across the partnerships as we were saying earlier.
Yeah. So how does that? I know you mentioned there's like a sliding doors moment in your answers back to me, or a moment where you spoke to someone in the partnership team about wanting to learn about it. How does that look, and how does that transition come about? Did you apply for the job, or was it more like just an internal look? We trust Luke; he's going to go across to the partnerships team.
Yeah, it was. I guess before. So in a nutshell, yes. Like there was a moment when I had, bumped into one of the partnerships manager at the time, Anthony Brickley. Sorry, it's going to call the wrong name. No, he was a great mentor for me and great manager. He pretty much credit him for everything I know today. It's about partnerships, about everything really. And I often think, even to this day, think to myself when I get myself in a pickle or challenging circumstance from a partnership lens, I always think to myself, what would AB do? Anthony, what would he do? Because he really guided me through that whole pathway. And the moment, I guess the sliding doors moment to kind of jump across to the partnerships team at Collingwood was even just a quick conversation in the kitchen while I was making lunch. And I just said to him, I've been doing a bit of volunteer work at South Melbourne District Sports Club as a sponsorship manager there, and would love to get your thoughts on what I'm doing. It's a bit of an area of interest that I've just putting myself out there to see if it's something I would like to do in the future. And I just thought, can we just catch up every now and then just to kind of run through what I'm thinking and how I'm progressing. And it's a bit of an opportunity. And he was welcoming, and like I said, he taught me everything I know today. So my credit definitely goes to him.
What do you think some of the most transferable skills are from membership into partnership? I know from my experience, I felt like those customer service kind of roles really lend itself well into partnerships, because ultimately you're trying to still work one-on-one with a client or with a customer.
Absolutely.
It's just a bit of a bigger scale investment. What do you think are some of those key ones that a lot of people start their journeys in membership sales and that kind of area?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think from a selling perspective, definitely kind of that cold calling opportunity definitely still exists. That you can kind of, obviously, as you mentioned, elevates quite substantially from a membership to a partnership, cold call. But I think it definitely takes some things across. And as you mentioned, account management is huge, to looking after a member to looking after a partner. Definitely some similarities there. But I think most importantly, you've kind of mentioned it too as well, in terms of you got the opportunity to network, right? You're in the sporting club in the membership role, but it's similar circumstance to me where you had the opportunity to talk to someone in the partnerships team and build that connection, build that network. That was kind of I think the most important part of like that transition across, right? Yeah. If I had done a membership role elsewhere, for example, and had the same discussion with Anthony, it might have not go as well as it did. But I think because it was at the same club, it made it a lot easier to have that transition.
Did you see many other people do the same out of membership into other parts of the club?
I remember before me, Brianna Dungan, she went from membership to events. Yeah. So it sat under the commercial sales or commercial sales and events. I think that was the exact wording department. But I think at the time there was a few different people walking into different type of departments from there. And I think I was a bit, I guess, even coming out of high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, right? And I think that's the case with a lot of people. And so I think that trial opportunity I did at South Melbourne Districts got me interested. This is actually quite fun, and learning and getting mentored from AB. I thought, Jesus, actually, I quite enjoy this. That's what kind of made me say, right, let's do it. Let's deep dive into it.
Yeah, definitely relatable. I want to just talk about too, you were there during the grand final campaign when the Pies lost to the Eagles in 2018. Yep. Were you partnerships or membership at that time?
Partnerships.
Partnerships, yeah. Yep. What was that like being part of final series, grand final week?
Yeah, incredible. That's the one word for it. Definitely incredible. I'm a Richmond supporter at heart, and I remember the prelim. Richmond were doing pretty well in 2018 too, mind you, and I remember sitting there quiet. I didn't cheer for either team. It was weird. It was the weirdest moment of my life. I thought to myself,
that was a prelim that Mason Cox dominated.
He did. Everyone was seeing Mason Cox in the crowd and USA, and and I remember thinking to myself, I'm happy either way. I'm going to the granny as a supporter, and I'll be absolutely stoked. Or I'm going as an employee. And that week leading up to it, the grand final was absolutely mental. It was an incredible experience from a partnership side.
What kind of things go down from a partnership sense in that week?
I think it's just more the excitement, I would say. A lot of things obviously controlled from the AFL perspective, from an execution on the day, which is fair enough. But I think it's the more discussions, and it happens in the lead up to grand final, just an off chance you are there.
Yeah.
But the discussion with partners is how can we leverage the opportunity, right? Because the eyeballs that go into your brand during that week in particular is incredible. So how do we leverage that opportunity?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, the excitement, the opportunity to, as I said, have as many eyeballs on you in the short period of time is it's just incredible. And then obviously the game itself was incredible too. If looking at it now, not having a Collingwood, supporter mindset, just what a grand final, right?
Yeah.
In that moment right then, I thought this is the worst day. But yeah, still incredible.
I think
experience.
I was actually still volunteering at the time with the membership.
That time, yeah.
And I'm a Collingwood supporter as well, but I was at, what was it called then? Maybe the Holden Centre back then.
Yep, it was.
And we were just trying to help sell, I think, memberships into next year at the time.
Yeah.
And then I just got to watch it at the live site.
How hard would have that been? Sell membership after losing the grand final?
That was all like pre-game.
Oh,
was all I
lucky.
was trying to sell. But it was just so flat. Like when the final siren went, it was just obviously 15,000-20,000 maybe that were there. You just heard nothing. It was just the most quietest atmosphere of people just walking back home, train. But surreal for you to be part of a grand final experience. Regardless, I think it's
correct.
So incredible to be part of, and you don't always get the chance to do that.
Absolutely.
As a player or as an administrator.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I remember the thousands of people that rocked up to the training session before the grand final tour at the Holden Centre. Like those experiences that you never forget, right?
Yeah.
Just a random training session. There's thousands of people at the front. It's just incredible.
Yeah. So you left the Pies and went away from sport.
Yep.
I've heard that from a few people, the importance and value of going away from sport to still be in partnership and sales at the brand level. So your first step was business development rep at PepsiCo. Do you want to speak about how that role comes about and what was part of the day-to-day?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably came about from two factors. It kind of had my mindset of going to PepsiCo at the time. One was it happened during COVID. I made the switch across. So I guess the business's hiring at that time when COVID first hit was probably a bit minimal.
Yeah.
But I credit to the Pies during the whole COVID process. They were outstanding for all staff, not just myself. But I was kind of obviously having that time at home and having time to kind of take a step back and think about my career. It was very sport orientated, right? And at that time, I almost spent 5 years at the Pies by that moment too. And I thought, I'm still young. I was in my early 20s at the time, and I thought I would love to learn the other side of the fence, the corporate side. And I thought, why not? Let's just give it a go and just see how it all happens. So went to PepsiCo, great team there. It was a great role. It was a lot of it was around. So PepsiCo, it was more the snacks division. So it was around like Smith's chips, Doritos, Nobby's Nuts, Red Rock Deli, those type of chips and brands. So it was awesome brands to work with, right?
Many freebies out of that.
Yeah, a lot of out-of-date chips in the back. But no, it was a great experience. And I probably felt in that time, though, I felt like I was kind of missing something. I couldn't put my finger on what I was missing. And I genuinely thought maybe it's an office environment, which led me to go to a role at News Corp. I thought that would be a great experience from a media agency level and gaining contacts and working with some large brands too, which I thought this is just an incredible experience. Went back to the office through there. And I think after really 12 to 18 months there, I probably at that moment of, feeling something was missing was still there. And I just couldn't put my finger onto it, what it was, right? And I think I did a bit of sponsorship. Yeah, I was doing a bit of volunteering at Aberfeldy Sports Club at the time as well. And I loved being around the football club still. And that's what probably made me think, okay, I think I'm just missing sport. Like I'm missing that environment. Yeah. So when an opportunity came up to go back into sport as in my role now as head of commercial at Williamstown, it was a bit of an opportunity. It was a good timing opportunity really. Just go, okay, let's get back into sport. Let's make it happen.
Before you jump off the News Corp, I just wanted to speak to you. Were nominated back-to-back Victoria Media Sales Person of the Year. Now, I don't know how...
Nominated.
It doesn't matter. I don't know how many salespeople they have, but I reckon they probably have a lot of salespeople at News Corp. So that must be something you're still proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it's voted. It's an industry award across Victoria and in Australia. It's voted by my clients and the people I work with on the other side of things, not internally, which I just it was an incredible opportunity. It was incredible to hear that I was nominated even even if I didn't win it, to be honest, I was still wrapped to be
Yeah,
nominated, right? I was only there for 6 months at the time to get my first nomination. Then obviously the second one was a bit longer.
Yeah, that's impressive though. 6 months to be nominated. Yeah,
but it was a good time with them, and the clients I worked with were incredible. You know, the likes of L'Oreal were an amazing team there, and that was through the agency called Wavemaker. And then there was also Essence Mediacom I worked with, and Mindshare, again, all looking after large brands across Australia, whether it's Jetstar, Rolex, Ford.
Is that probably something you've realised too when you went there, that there is so many agencies that actually represent these brands? I know personally being at TGI and seeing the work Luminate do and like the brands that go up on the LED signage, like there's so many companies you just never heard of that are representing these guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was a massive eye-opener, right? As I'm sure it would have been for yourself too. What made me think from a sales perspective of taking that in though is sometimes you can't go straight to the brand, right?
Yes.
The brands are relying on their agencies to look after the marketing side for them. So you just got to go through the right channels. And that's what often people struggle to, you know, the discussion's always, you know, trying to find the right person to talk to is always the biggest challenge. And it's probably because they're going through an agency, right? And you're going to direct to the brand, but it's actually not the brand that looks after it at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely right in terms of the hidden team behind the team. Really.
Yeah. I know we'll get to Williamstown in a second. It probably still speaks to the biggest question here about the differences between the sport environment and brand side. But yeah, whilst we're still on it, what do you think are the biggest differences between the sporting environment versus brand? And it can be role related or culturally.
Yeah. Oh, I think the massive team environment, like a bit of camaraderie, I think is definitely a massive difference, I think. And as I said before, like the match days, right? You miss all that from a corporate world to the footy landscape. And that's as I was saying earlier, like that's the part that makes me, is the reason why I'm in sport. Because I love seeing match days come to life. It's everything you work towards coming together in one day, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a grand final one day at Williamstown, and I could imagine being even sweeter, right? But yeah, definitely two things being the team camaraderie of coming together, especially in smaller teams, but also the match day experience.
Yeah.
Outcomes.
You can't beat it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you spoke about Williamstown, currently head of commercial partnerships, and for those that don't know, Williamstown's in the VFL, basically the second tier of the AFL in the country. So firstly, tell us, how does that role come about?
Yep.
And then, what does that look like from a day-to-day sort of in and out of season as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd probably, starting in the off-season, I'd probably say that's the time to start looking or planning ahead for the upcoming season. Or upcoming year. So if it's, off-season starts really in September, October timeline. So you basically got 4 or 5 months to kind of get the ball moving and get our partnerships locked away. And I think the discussion with partners at that time is very much around planning for the season ahead. We don't have the fixture yet, but what things do we want to achieve? Whether that's on the field or off the field, so on the field activations, for example, or around the ground activations, or off the field within the community, and obviously the community being a large part of Williamstown Football Club as a whole. So yeah, definitely there's a lot of planning and strategy discussions at that time. Then going in the season, it's mainly just bringing everything that you've discussed to life. It's ideally by first game, your new business partnerships is kind of done and dusted. That's the ideal situation. And you can just focus about bringing everything that you essentially promised and it's agreed to life, in whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
So definitely, and I definitely from the pro season to pre-season, it doesn't stop.
Do you find off seasons busier than in season? From my perspective at Clubland, I think the off season can be busier because sometimes in season I feel like you're, in a sense, rinse and repeat. It's like there's a game coming, you got to execute X, Y, Z, and you probably did it a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. And like you said, your new business and opportunities are probably already done. Yeah. So would you say it's... Because some people just go to you and go, you probably had friends and go, oh, so you're just doing nothing from September till March.
That's the exact mindset I had, honestly, when I was saying, I was talking earlier. Exactly right. People go, off season, you've got feet up for 6 months and then you're back into it. It's like, no, this is my go time, right? Yeah. This is, I often say internally, this November, December is a partnerships grand finals period, right? Yeah. Because essentially you need to capture all your new business before people go on break for Christmas, right? because the whole of January you're not going to catch them because they're
Yeah.
away. February, you got to get moving. If you haven't done anything, you got to get moving by February and get them locked away pretty quick. But then you've also lost the discussions that you had from November. You have to almost like starting the partnership discussion again, right? Because it's been like a month and a half break from when you've spoke to them last. And that's quite difficult in itself.
Yeah.
So then, my analogy is November, December is basically final series for partnerships. And then come February, you should be, hopefully it's all sorted.
Yeah. I think a lot of people could relate to that in the commercial world.
Yeah.
How small, big is the team at a VFL level? I think most people would imagine it's not super big and you're kind of running almost solo commercially. But yeah, do you want to speak to how you'll function as a team?
Yeah, absolutely. In an administration side from a VFL landscape, there's 4 of us in the team. So myself, we have a membership and merchandise manager. We have a marketing manager as well as the CEO. And then we also, actually 5, because we also got the venue manager as well. So yeah, it's 5 people in administration, I would say. And then looking at the football side, that's probably where a little bit more manpower are. So whether it's across both teams, VFL, VFLW teams, but then coaches for both, as well as obviously the head coach included. And then the GM of football oversees both programs, as well as an operations role there too. But the one thing with VFL, and I'm sure Williamstown aren't any different to any other standalone club, is we're heavily reliant on our volunteers. In fact, I don't think our match days will come to life without a volunteer, really, the reality. Whether that's even small things like checking tickets or scanning tickets at the gate compared to, selling the tickets or helping out running the sausage sizzle, and just little things like that goes a really long way. So if we essentially, thinking not just ourselves, but if any standalone club had to pay for a staff member to work each of those different things, I don't think it's not very commercially viable. Yeah, it's not very sustainable. So we're very reliant on volunteers. So if anyone is out there wanting to volunteer and gain experience, feel free to reach out. Good match day experience.
It's a good spot too out there in Williamstown.
Yeah, absolutely.
We spoke about this too before we jumped on recording. The big revenue maker for the club is actually away from sport and football together. Do you want to speak about what that is and how it works?
Yeah. I definitely think you've got to diversify yourself, and I think many clubs have done that in the past few years, whether that's, as we mentioned earlier, with education programs. A lot of clubs have started recently. So definitely, diversification, I think it's critical for any sports club, and for Williamstown, it's no different. We have we run Seaview Event Centre, which is an event centre just above the grandstand at the club, where we hold weddings, birthdays, graduate ceremonies, wakes, everything. So that's another a bit of a different revenue stream. And most recently, we actually started a coffee cart just along the bay or the walking trail in Williamstown. So open only from Thursday to Sundays in the mornings, 8 to 12. But to capture those frequent walkers that on weekends in particular, or people working from home on Fridays that they're going by, especially on a nice day in Williamstown. It's just a nice little opportunity that we will then extend into our match days come football season too.
Have you been in there making coffees yourself?
I've actually started trying. The venue manager's teaching me currently. I'm no good. I had the coffee myself that I made, and I thought, geez, this is horrible. But I'm hoping I get better at it.
Are those dollars from a venue sense, and even like you said, the coffee machine, the coffee opportunity along the river, the beach?
Yeah.
Is that something that falls into your budget, your goals and objectives, or is that more the venue manager?
Yeah, I think the venue manager's done, from an operational standpoint, he's been he's done a hell of a job looking after both areas, because it's like Seaview event manager, so across both Seaview Event Centre as well as coffee at Seaview.
Yeah.
However, I look after more the strategy side of both. So the strategy around the coffee at Seaview, it's been one that we've been trying to get up and running for the last few years. With our new CEO starting towards the end of last year, we kind of had the discussion around, how good of an idea this would be. Put together a business case for it, and he took it to our board, and credit to our board who are willing to always give things give new things a go. We got the tick off to invest heavily into it, and just give it a crack. Yeah.
And you mentioned to me you've had stints as acting CEO, GM of football as well. You said as well.
Yeah. Yep.
What were those experiences like?
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, I think that's the biggest attraction of working in VFL, right? Is that you see so many different parts of the club. But over the almost 3 years I've been at Williamstown now. I've done stints to help out while the CEO's been away. Usually it's a few weeks to a month at a time, and to kind of give expand my experience for myself personally. I think the most recently, actually, Sarah was away over in the UK, and it was part of as part of the CEO role. I was helping out doing the fixturing for our both programs, and even just working with the AFL and other clubs to get that locked in. It was a massive experience, and something I'll always look back on, just to see how that all came about, and something I actually really cherish, which is quite nice. And then GM football, I've done it twice now. It's a bit of standing GM football role in between people starting and people leaving, and great experience again, just to kind of see a bit more about the football side. And that's why, even like I was saying earlier, in terms of being in the coach's box, I would encourage anyone that gets the opportunity to do it to do it, because you just see a whole different side to football. It's a complete different administration, and they operate differently, and they work very effective with each other, especially on match days. And definitely would recommend anyone to get part of it.
Very cool opportunities, both of those.
It's definitely, I don't think opportunity I would get at an AFL club, that's for sure. But something I love to use that experience going forward as well.
Yeah. Last thing on Willie, I wanted to ask is, what is it like collaborating with? And you kind of mentioned it there, collaborating with other clubs.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think the biggest advantage and the strength of the AFL is that they all work so well together to help achieve collective goals.
Yeah.
Is there a similar relationship at the VFL level, and does that differ from standalone clubs versus clubs that have feeder pathways as well?
Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. I think on the field, the team, there's massive rivalries, right? And you can kind of play into it. So I'll use an example of us, Williamstown and Werribee, massive rivalry on the field, always a great matchup every year. But off the field, I have a lot of respect for Werribee as a football club, as a standalone football club. They've done an incredible job from where they were, 20 years ago to where they are today, playing grand finals now, and they do a really great job from a player development, pathway into the AFL, and likewise with other standalone clubs too, right? It's not easy being a standalone club and not having that affiliation program set up. So, I will always respect standalone clubs and the part they play as part of a second tier division in AFL. And then with AFL clubs, we have great relationships with all of them. And I think you need to in some ways too, right? Because at the end of the day, especially when you're doing fixturing, some hurdles you come across, and you need to get alignment from other clubs to help out the club to make it on certain days for other reasons. Could be commercially or football related, in terms of breaks between other games or whatever it is. So working with other clubs and having those relationships is quite important. But I think going back to the standalone clubs, definitely a lot of respect for them, and it's great to see Frankston now doing really well, even from a off the field perspective, and seeing the partnerships they've got coming in, and I think credit to them, absolute credit to them.
Yeah. Partnership wise, do you have a favorite partner campaign, collaboration, something you've worked on? And this could have been any of these roles you've gone through.
Yeah.
Do you have a top couple?
I'll give you one in sport and one in corporate.
Yeah.
I mean, the one in sport, it always sticks in my mind only because it was the first partner I brought on in my whole career. And that was Kraft Heinz. So we did a activation to launch our partnership where we had Jeremy Howe giving out free mini pies at the training session. It was an open training session. We had a lot of people there. I think it might have been our first one for the year.
Yeah.
And we had Channel 7 there doing recording and whatnot, and we just had him squeezing hot pies with the Heinz and Collingwood sauce on the mini pies and handing them out, and it was an incredible experience. I actually still have the bottle that we were using from that day. I keep it on my desk as a bit of a memento, a bit of a reminder of that. But I think what they did for my career, and the reason why I keep remembering it, is it was a massive confidence boost for me at the time. I was only 6 months in my role in partnerships at Collingwood at that moment, and landing a major partner for the Pies only in 6 months, it was a bit of a moment. I go, wow, I can, at that time in my career, right? I go, wow, I can actually do this, So I like to, I never like to take things for granted, and I like to remember how I started and where I am now as a bit of a way to keep pushing me forward and try to find the next partnership that makes you feel that good too, right?
Yeah.
And then from a corporate sense, working with a great partnership I actually created with with News Corp was with A2 Milk, and it's a bit of a personal favourite only because they were bringing out a lactose-free milk and they wanted News Corp, and we pitched them for News Corp to be the partner of choice to take it forward and bring it to life. And it's one I really enjoyed working on from a pitching perspective, and then seeing it really come to life. It's one that now when I go to the grocery store or the Woolworths and I see it in the fridge, I always think about that campaign that we ran. And it's good to see it still in the fridge. It means there's still something went right in that campaign. Yeah. To see a few years later, it's still there. So
it's funny you mentioned A2 Milk because we interviewed Matt Winley last week, and Matt's trying to do everything he can to try, I suppose, reduce the barriers of promotion relegation in soccer in Australia. And his idea is this concept of like an A1 and an A2 league. And he keeps going on about A2 the milk.
Partner for it.
So I might have to get an introduction
Great
done.
Great brand alignment.
I want to divert more around to some general problems, challenges in industry and also from your experiences. So what do you think makes it difficult to get a job in the sports industry?
Yeah, I think it's just the demand really, or the supply and demand of the amount of roles that are in market and I guess AFL teams have across any club or any league, compared to the amount of people also applying for the exact same role, right? I think that's what makes it difficult because you're going up against multiple people, often with the same background, especially for those entry level roles. So I think the biggest challenge would really be just what separates you from the other person. I think that's the question you always got to ask yourself. And then something you should take into the interview too, to say, this is why I'm unique. This is why I'm different to the next person you're going to interview. And this is why I'm going to be good for the role because I've had this unique experience that no one else would have. Yeah. For me, it was the debt collections for the Big Four bank, right? It's definitely unique. I knew no one else would have that experience. It would be very rare for someone else to have that experience. So you're definitely taking that experience and that opportunity and just to set yourself apart from someone else is definitely key in that moment. But I think the amount of people applying for entry level roles would be quite high. Yeah,
I think that's growing as well. So, but definitely sound advice. Career direction wise, how did you decide that this was the career path that you wanted to take?
Yeah, I probably never really had it set in stone that I was going to end up in this career pathway. I actually thought leaving Pies, I didn't think I was going to go back into sport. I thought, okay, I've done my career in sport. That was fun. I'm going to go into the corporate world now and just have a career that way. And then obviously, as we mentioned before, why I kind of diverted back into it just from a passion point, what I really enjoyed from that perspective. But I would probably never say there's been a moment I go, oh, this is my pathway, right? This is my trajectory. This is where I'm heading. I've never really thought that. Instead, I've been thinking about, when I am applying for new roles, is what type of impact I can have in that role. And if it's something that I truly believe I can make an impact in, right? Because if you back yourself in to do it and to actually create that impact, then going for the application, going through the interview process, you can talk to that, right? And if you're sitting there confident, as like we were saying before the interview today, like if you really believe in the brand and the product that you're selling, how much easier it is to sell it, right?
Yeah.
So I think, definitely opportunity when it comes up and understanding can I actually have impact in that space has led me to that next role.
Absolutely. Yeah, like it. And when you've landed your jobs through your course of career, you kind of mentioned it, but what do you think made you stand out? I know there's that pure case of the debt collecting, but you probably mentioned again the passion and the difference maker you can be. Is that probably still that advice?
I'll definitely say between a mixture of all those. And I think even just enthusiasm, right? Like it's at the end of the day, partnerships in any selling role. If you don't have enthusiasm, if you're pretty a bit boring or not boring, but like a bit mellow and not excited by it, then you probably don't want that person trying to sell your brand, right? You want to encourage excitement, and encourage enthusiasm when you're talking to new partners to bring them along for the ride, really.
For sure. Now, you mentioned before AB, a big influence on your career. Yeah. We often speak about mentors and influences on people's careers. Would you say he is your main one, and do you have some others that have had a major impact?
I've been very, very fortunate in my career to have some great managers and people who have mentored me throughout my pathway or career path. And I had actually started with her name's Natalie Brown, or Natalie Garden now. Sorry, now married. She's at Netball Australia currently, but at the time she was the membership manager who I started my role, and she was huge for me starting my career at Collingwood or in sport. And she wrote an acronym, actually, just a bit of a short story, but she wrote an acronym on the whiteboard that she left up for the whole year for as long as she was in that office, and it was called FORTSY. That was the acronym, and it stands for Find a Way to Say Yes, right? And that's the mentality she was trying to encourage all, salespeople in membership to live by. And so it's something that it's an acronym I actually write on my whiteboard today. It's just as an encouragement for even interns coming through or volunteers, because it's a conversation starter, but it's also a way everyone should be talking when they're talking to members or partners or supporters. Just find a way to say yes, whatever that is. Yeah. And then, AB definitely, I think from a partnership sense, absolutely, hands down, a massive contributor to where I am today. And then even looking at PepsiCo days, something a little bit different type of selling. Christian Leschke there, he's my manager, massive influence on me. And then most recently at Williamstown Football Club, Ashley Baker was CEO when I started there, and started here, sorry. And he was a massive influence on me, even to for the impact I had. He backed me in 100%. From the get-go, he said to me essentially make this program, the commercial plan, exactly what you think needs to happen to increase our revenue. And thinking about decisions I made only 2 months in the role where I am, I don't think I would make those decisions at any football club, only because they're quite radical. I felt they were, looking back and now, they were quite big decisions that if it didn't pay off, I could be in some real strife.
But he backed you and he trusted you, which I think is massive.
And not just Ash, it was the whole board really backed me in, and I kind of pitched to them saying, I used a bit of the Moneyball, and have you seen Moneyball?
Yes, yeah.
And it's the Moneyball analogy of, we're here, but, there's all the other teams are up here, and how do we keep, commercially break that gap? And I really think we've made a huge stride in getting to where we need to be. And I think that goes to the point of, working with larger brands now. I brought, ExxonMobil on board as a partner that year, as well as Kraken Rum came on board. So large Australian known brands supporting a second-tier VFL club, or second-tier, part of the second league, really. Yeah. But those 4 mentors or people in my life were massive contributors to who I am today.
Just on Nat, I want to speak to the small world that sport is. Yeah. I worked with Nat's husband, Simon, at Western.
Yeah, great.
And when you said Brown, I was like, no idea. And then Gardner and that netball, I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he's just as good.
Simon's great. So shout out to him and shout out to Nat.
Absolutely.
If you had to go back in time and someone said, I'll give you $1 million if you can land a job in commercial partnerships, you got 30 days.
Yep.
What would your approach be?
I think network is definitely. If you got 30 days, you'd be pretty quick, smart to get find a role in sport. And I would say yes to every opportunity I had, whether that's if you're jumping in a mascot suit, great, sign me up. Get that mascot head on me. Get me in that suit.
Have you done that?
I have at Collingwood. I've did it a couple of times. Actually, I did it a few times. I went to the Magpies, the netball suit a couple of times too. It's not something I would do again personally, but great experience, right? And I think that's the mentality.
You live by your advice though.
Absolutely. And it's something I'd actually encourage people who do want to prove themselves in sport, are willing to do things above normal, to just say yes to those things, right? Because I think that put me in good stead to either be in this kind of role I am today, in terms of just saying yes and being an accountable worker, I guess, in that part of the team that is willing to do things that people don't really want to do.
Absolutely. Like it. Biggest pinch me moment working in sport?
Yeah, I think we probably spoke about it with the grand final. I think that was a massive pinch me moment. I think the moment that it was the exact moment was going into the last quarter. I initially thinking Pies were going to win this. So they were ahead by quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh my God, I don't want to jinx it, say I jinxed them, but I actually remember thinking, I think I'm going to be a premiership staff member here. This could be a reality. And I think that was a massive pinch me moment. And then obviously it's probably why I was so devastated. I probably at the end.
All came crashing down.
They all came crashing.
But still a pinch me moment. So
yeah, absolutely.
you got to make the most of them. What do you think your life would look like if you hadn't pursued a career in sport?
Yeah. Two different pathways I probably would have taken. I would have, I don't know, probably don't know exactly, but I would have either gone in the trade area. I would have done something in trade that's a bit more hands-on. I'm not sure what that would be, but I do love my trips to Bunnings. And people that know me well always give me a bit of grief because I have a bit of a laugh about me and my, my handyman skills. And if you ask my wife, there's a few wonky little Kmart things that are in certain places, but I enjoy it, right? And it's good fun.
So your Bunnings are becoming a sponsor of Williamstown.
Well, if they're listening, feel free to reach out. Would love to chat. But then I would potentially also go the other side, more that account manager, because I do enjoy connecting brands with whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
On the corporate end. Say like the account management side, or they're trying to trace like, I think I might have gone on one or the other, I reckon.
Account manager for Bunnings.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
And then, a new feature I've brought to the pod is bringing a question from our last guest that they don't know who is coming on, but just a question. So from Tia Schwalger, who was from Cricket Australia, last guest on the pod, where do you see women's sport going within the next 10 years, and what does that look like in your opinion? Yeah,
great question. I'm a massive supporter of women's sport overall. I think I think it has progression to go and to be the league that I know or everyone knows it can get to. I think that's why the AFL are investing so much. I'm thinking of AFLW in particular as I'm saying this answer. But I think the AFL really back it in to get to where it needs to go. And I definitely think as well, I'm a big believer of, you see negative comments all the time, right? Around the league. And I'm a massive believer of stop comparing it to AFL. Stop comparing it towards the men's game that's been around for over 160 years.
Yeah.
How long has the AFLW been around for? 10 years?
Yeah, if that, yeah.
So 10, like 15, when you compare them, right? What was the AFL like 150 years ago? And what was the standard of football at that time? What was the scores? I actually don't know the facts, but I would love to know them because I don't reckon they'll be much different to what we're working with today. And I think definitely there's progression to go. And as the development pathways really start increasing, especially from junior levels of women's sport all the way up into leagues like VFL and then into the AFLW, I think the talent will increase quite dramatically. And I think I've even started noticing an increase from when the AFLW first started to what it is today, right? The talent increase has been really
it's only going to keep
great
getting
to
better.
see. Yeah. So I think, I definitely think the opportunity is there. I think it's going to continue growing and to be the best game it can be for as many years as it can, to get to that level that people start thinking more higher, I guess, or thinking better about it than what they're currently thinking now. And I think if I had an opportunity to talk to, when I do talk to people who are a bit negative against it, often those negative comments are from games they've seen years ago. And what would I always encourage them is to just give it another go. It doesn't have to be this year, doesn't have to be next, but at some point in your life, just give it a chance, give it another go, and compare the differences from what you're seeing at that moment compared to what you saw before, and understand that yes, you've seen an increase, but also there's opportunity to increase as pathways start developing for women's sport overall.
Yeah. On that, do you get many partner opportunities where brands are coming, like they solely want to focus on partnering with the VFLW side, or maybe they're speaking about doing a combination of both, but their still main focus is on the women's side?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think that the partnership side really comes down to the demographic that they're trying to reach, right? Obviously, you've got two different types of audiences across both the VFL and VFLW. Some people prefer to be part of the VFLW, and sometimes I'm actually talking to partners saying, I actually recommend you to be a partner with VFLW because it's going to hit the audience that you're trying to achieve, whether that's a younger audience or if it's a different male-female skewed towards each. I definitely think, it's each program has its benefits and understanding of the type of audience that program delivers, making sure you aligns well with the partner for the best chance of success, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And last one is really for you. So what's one question you'd like to leave for our next guest?
Yeah. Probably say, I guess following on from that, what does the VFL or second tier division in the AFL look like in 5 years' time? Obviously, there's been chatters about what it potentially could be. Obviously, Poyle and Adelaide have had discussions around trying to make a national competition. And but we'd love to get their view on what they would like it to be and what do you think it will be in 5 years' time.
Great question. Look forward to hearing the answer from the upcoming
so
guest. Well, that's all from me today, Luke. Like I said, it's been a pleasure to catch up from a personal level. Pleasure to hear all the advice. You've had some great experiences, and I think from a commercial partnerships, from my background anyway, it's been good to talk all things partnerships and just hear more about what you've been up to. And I think a lot of listeners can take a lot of valuable things away from the conversation. So thanks again, and look forward to seeing how Williamstown go this year.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.